Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sober Dad Sunday. My name is Matt. I am a person in recovery. I've been sober for about 2.5 years now. I'm a dad of 3 kids, and today's Sunday. And you don't have to be any of those things to participate in this community tonight. I'm coming to you. I'm apologizing. I'm a little bit tired after traveling all weekend, but wanted to very quickly bring you some thoughts for this week. As many of y'all know, I am a United Methodist pastor. I've been doing this for about 25 years now in various ministry settings, and the United Methodist Church just had a really big couple of weeks. We finally, and I'm talking finally, long overdue, removed prohibitions on LGBT persons in our church. In persons, their marriages being recognized, in being able to be ordained as ministers, for me as a pastor to be able to marry anybody without the possibility of being brought up on charges. And we finally got rid of a phrase in our book of discipline that called persons incompatible with Christian teaching, and no one is incompatible with God's love. I could go on about that one for a while. But in leading up to this general conference, there was a lot that happened. We lost a lot of people. There was a lot of disaffiliation from our denomination, and there was still a lot of cynicism. And I will say that I too was cynical as to whether anything was still going to change, even after all the loss and the conflict and other things we've had. And I'm very glad to say that my cynicism was not correct, that these good things happened. It's a wonderful thing, but it's also, it's 2024. It's long overdue for us in one of the largest Protestant denominations to be getting with the program to recognize that LGBT persons are indeed of sacred worth, that they're not somehow defective or sinners or anything like that. So on the one hand, there are a lot of folks that are celebrating, and rightly so. We finally got some things right in our general conference. There are also some folks that are saying, geez, guys, it's 2024. There's still so much harm that has been done. People whose marriages have not, and families have not been honored, whose clergy credentials have been yanked, and people who have gone on trial for who they are and who they love. So there will be some people that recognize that, yeah, it's 2024 and it's late, but it's better late than never, and celebrate that. And there are others that might even say too little, too late, because of all the harm that has been done, and we can't go back and undo it. I live somewhere in between those two places because it's very easy for me as a straight, white, het cis person to celebrate and to say, great, this is wonderful, because, well, my marriage, there was never a question of my marriage being able to be celebrated in a United Methodist church, and my wedding presided over by a retired United Methodist bishop or any Methodist clergy. My orientation of my family never prohibited me from being ordained, any of that stuff. So it's easy for me to go, yay, wonderful. It's easy for me to be on the better late than never side. And yet I know so many people who have this deep hurt that are glad, and yet it still hurts. So I understand those that are there saying too little, too late. As a person in recovery, this also affects me deeply, because if you have gone through the process of recovery and doing the 12 steps, you know how important it is to make amends, to do the deep work in figuring out your defects of character and working with a sponsor on those things, and then coming to a place where you're ready to make a list of the people that you've harmed and be willing to make amends to them and begin to make amends to those that you can see, except where to do so would cause further harm. And for me, like a lot of people in recovery, the amends that I make are I can't go and undo things that I've done, hurtful things that I've said, ways that I wasn't present in the life of my family when drinking had this hold on my life. And the process of making amends is it's hard. It's very humbling. It's going before people and going, hey, I really messed up, and offering no equivocations, no excuses, just, hey, I acknowledge this is what happened, this is there, and just to see how they react, if they do at all. If you've been through that process in recovery, you may have experienced some people that will rejoice with you and say, great, I'm glad you're doing that, and it's better late than never. And you may also have some people for whom the hurt is still so fresh. They might say, well, too little, too late. And we just have to accept and know that that's their reaction. That's where they are with that. And you put that forward, and there's nothing else you can do, because the process of amends making is as much for you as it is for them, of trying to become the best version of yourself that you can be. Recognize you can't go and undo harm that has been done. All you can do is acknowledge that there's been a lot of harm done and try to express the deepest repentance that you can. One of the things I appreciated that they did at the General Conference was to have a service of lament and repentance to all the ways that the global church has harmed people, whether that be through participation in colonialism, the harm we've done to LGBT people, the many people we've overlooked, in the ways we've tried to do business as a global connectional church. I've seen some rejoice with that service of lament and repentance. I've seen some shrug their shoulders and say, yeah, great, too little, too late. And the odd person here and there go, what do I have to apologize for? Can't do much about that one, those folks either, in their attitude. So the question I want to put to everybody here tonight is whether you've been through this in recovery or just, living life as a human being, whenever you realize you have fallen short. You've messed up and done some things that you need to apologize for. And when hopefully you've done that, how people reacted. Have people received and appreciated those apologies and attempts at amends that you've given? And say, yeah, better late than never? Or have they rejected it? They said too little, too late. And you've just had to live with that. Or, conversely, on the other end, have you been on the receiving end of someone's apologies, of someone's attempts at making amends? How have you received that? Put in the comments section. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about your experience receiving people's apologies and their amends. Was it a good thing? Was it a helpful thing? Did it really achieve some of the healing that needed to be done? Or was the hurt so deep that it was too little, too late? I'd really love to hear from you guys, either the comment section there on Facebook or YouTube, just to know, what was it like? What was it like to receive those apologies and those amends? And for those of you who made them, what was it like to give them? What was it like to put yourself out there and not quite know how somebody was going to receive it? So those are my quick thoughts for this week. A little exhausted after some long travel, but I want to know what you guys think. As always, I wish each and every one of you the best out there. I encourage you to keep striving. Keep working to try to be the best person you can be for the people around you, because they're worth it. And most of all, keep striving and working to be the best person you can be for you, because you're